Wednesday. I have another word of the day for you guys, and something I just wanted to share. So, as you know, I will record this and then leave the replay up for anyone that wants to watch it. So, let me just open up my notes really quick. Okay, sorry, my internet did not let me be great. Let me just make sure it's working. Okay. I think it's up. Okay, anyways, let me just double check. I'm gonna refresh this really quick. So, anyways, I just have some things that I wanted to share, because again, I just want to share things that are in my head because I feel like maybe someone somewhere may need it. Okay. Do you want to go to your bed? You want to go to your bed? Are you thirsty? You want some water? Hold on. You want some water? Okay. She's want some water. Let's say hi. You want to say hi? Okay, sorry. The internet is just not letting me be great, so I'm going to let this sit for a second just to make sure it's working. Hey, Tiki. Okay, so the topic that I wanted to talk about right now is the toxic traits of hustle culture, and kind of, because if you've seen some of my posts around the Facebook web, I have been just mentioning toxic hustle culture. Actually, it's been very interesting because I've seen the transition of this topic being brought into my life from a couple of weeks ago when I listened to a podcast that was called The Toxic Traits of Hustle Culture. And then I've just started to see and become a little bit more observant and see in so many different ways of marketing that people are starting to step away from this 24/7 grind to finding a more balanced life. And not consciously, but a little bit subconsciously, that has been inside of my marketing, more specifically just because that's just how I live my life. I went through hustle culture, ended up hustling myself into the hospital, and I was like, this just doesn't work. So I had to find a way that was different, that gave me the balance that I needed. So I started to put that in my marketing, and that's how I kind of shape my course and how I do my things, because that's just my lifestyle. But I'm starting to notice that it is now what a lot of people are intentionally using, because especially with a lot of the burnout that people are experiencing, they just want to know a better way to do life. Also, if you remembered in the group, I posted something about, because I was just kind of curious about it, but a lot of people were quitting, the Great Resignation or something it was called. And a lot of people were quitting their jobs, millions of people. And in my mind, I was asking around, why are people quitting their jobs? And a lot of people were saying, they are burnt out at this job, after, 2020. Their employers didn't treat them well. They kind of treated them like objects. And so they're starting to realize time and life and balance are more important over money. So they're willing to leave a job for that. So I'm starting to see the shift in a forward perspective, in the sense of, yes, I know this isn't necessarily a new wave. It's been happening for a long time, but just with anything, there's the early adopters, there's the first movers, there's the people that get it later. So right now, the rest of society is catching up with this change in their mindset. So then today, Marion, shout out to Marion, she made a post, if you saw that little SpongeBob post in the group, where she brought up, taking a break today, taking this, and it just, I was just wow, the stars are definitely aligning. as a marketer, I am studying a lot of like the words that people are using, the wavelengths that people are using. And so I was like, yeah, there definitely is a shift between marketing for this hustle culture, which a lot of sometimes people call it bro culture, and like balance and ease and flow and effortlessness. So I want to just talk about a few things, how it started. Sorry, my internet won't let me be great. Okay, so I want to talk about how hustle culture started, why it's infecting a lot of people, and what we can actually do about it. Okay, so hey Tiki, hey Tori, hey Michelle. Guys, this is just like a random live. You already know I always jump on randomly. I'll save this just for anyone. This is just hopefully a message that someone may receive that may need this. So how it actually started. Now, if you look at some of our early, these are the principles that Jim Rohn and Earl Nightingale set in place, people like that. They talk about how you only get a certain amount of time throughout your waking hours. And so they're saying that your work ethic, especially if you are trying to create a life of success and a life of financial abundance, is switch to my hotspot because this is going to literally drive me nuts. I'm so grateful that I have internet, but come on. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale. They talk about maxing out your time. They talk about productivity, and they talk about work ethic. So they say that you have a certain amount of waking hours. And a lot of times people don't utilize their waking hours in a way that allows them to create a life of success, a life of financial abundance. To each his own. But sometimes the majority of the people use those waking hours to, watch TV. And this is if you don't have your life in the place that you want it, and you are complaining about where you want to be. So again, your success is found in your daily habits. So what they were saying is that, hey, instead of spending those 6 hours watching TV, and this is back in the day, like Jim Rohn and Earl Nightingale did not have Netflix, okay? So they were saying, instead of spending all of that time, watching TV, use that time to read a book. Use that time to learn a skill that's going to get you to the place that you're trying to get to. So they were talking about maxing out time, and they were talking about productivity, and they were talking about work ethic. They were not talking about hustling, because the same time they were telling you to use your time, your waking hours wisely, they were also saying to enjoy your life, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay. So, I can go super deep into that. I know that being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor from your business does come from proper money management, being able to actually make your money work for you, all of those things. But let's say that you do have those things. And so at the same time, they're saying like max out your day and be more productive and have a tighter work ethic and be more disciplined if you want to achieve your goals. Then they were also saying, though, at the same time, enjoy life. So if you're going to be at the beach, be at the beach. Don't be at the beach thinking about work. If you're going to be at work, be at work. Don't think about work thinking about being at the beach, because then you're in this perpetual state of agony where you finally get to the beach, but you're not enjoying it. And then you're back to work. You're like, oh, I wish I would enjoy my time at the beach. And then now you're at, the beach, but then the whole time you're like, oh, I gotta work. So it's like this balance. So they were saying max out your working hours, but also have the balance to not neglect the other areas of your life. And so then what do we have now as like forward-thinking success leaders? People like Grant Cardone, people like Tony Robbins, right? They talk about how they may work 19 hours a day or something like that, or they may work, a lot. And it seems like, though, hey V, it seems like they're talking about hustle. But I have to encourage us not to just take what somebody says and take it at face value, to be a deeper thinker, because we don't really know what goes on behind the scenes of like someone's, 15-hour workday. What are they, doing? They may have more balance. They may have better productivity, better time management skills, better prioritization. So for them to work 15 hours, they're working on maybe possibly high level tasks that move the needle for them. And they also may be working on things that they love, so it doesn't necessarily feel like work. But again, nobody is saying to hustle and grind. So this is kind of where a lot of these early thought leaders were talking about this lifestyle of maxing out your day, getting the most out of your day. But also a lot of us kind of ignored when they mentioned also having the balance. So then here's what happens. Okay, so in the early sort of internet marketing days, with people like, I would start to call this the bro culture. So people like Ty Lopez and things like that, the fake it till you make it, where they go and they rent the Lamborghinis and they get the mansions and they record these videos. And so, this is like the new thing. There's actually a whole article or whole topic on this. I believe it's called Scam World, but it was just kind of like fake it till you make it. Now, in some degrees, yes, it can, work. But what was starting to happen is that it became this like hustle bro culture, where you got these like motivational pages on Instagram with millions of followers popping up on this topic. And it's kind of like the, sleep till you die, sleep later, like me grinding, you go to work for 40 hours a week. I go to work for 80 hours a week. Like, while you're partying, I'm doing this. And then now like I'm living the life of luxury while you're like, it just started to create all of that. Because these bro marketers found a really good strategy of persuasion marketing, dangling these, cherries in front of you of like, yes, the Lamborghini, the mansion, the millions of dollars, the lifestyle, and saying that the reason why you don't have this is because you are not hustling, right? They would take the message of like the 5 a.m. club and distort it and say that you need to be grinding, because people that actually practice 5 a.m. club are not people that are constantly hustling. Like I practice 5 a.m. club, but my day is not filled with hustle. So you have this culture of people creating this type of like fake it till you make it bro culture marketing. So then what happens is that people are starting to get confused. They're starting to feel like, oh my gosh, the pressure. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. I'm not hustling. I'm not working on my business 24/7, right? Because again, if you don't have the depth of thinking, you will see a little quote that says like, those quotes that were like, in my 20s, I was not going to the club. I wasn't doing this. I was like grinding. And now in my 30s, I'm enjoying my life, and living in luxury while you're doing this. If you don't have the depth of thinking to realize like that's just a quote, yes, albeit it can be motivational, then what happens is that a lot of us build the pressure of trying to check things off the list. That's when the false productivity happens, because now we have this mindset that we have to work hard. We have to, earn. We have to be 24/7, just grinding. And I'm going to skip my, mom's birthday. I'm going to skip going out and doing, celebrating time with my family, doing meaningful things, because I need to just grind. I need to be working on my business. We start to sacrifice our relationships. We start to sacrifice sleeping. We start to sacrifice our mental health, right? So you're burnt out. You're not eating well. You're just eating quick garbage food. You start to feel the pressure of trying to achieve the goals, right? Because a lot of the hustle culture marketing is talking about the reason why, you're not achieving your goals is because you aren't hustling. So then it starts to just damage your mental psyche, okay? The failure of not achieving the goals. The failure of, false productivity, not checking things off a list. So you can see how something that started off really good, right? With the Jim Rohns, the Earl Nightingale is just teaching you how to max out your day, turned into then this marketing campaign that has literally been blown out of the water. And I'm going to tell you why this is impacting people, because in terms of marketing, it's a great marketing campaign. I mean, people might not like, I'm not a fan of President Trump, but like he had a great marketing campaign. So, but not all marketing campaigns are good for you, are good for society. But hustle culture was a great marketing campaign. So that's kind of how hustle culture marketing was born. It was using the early success leaders like Jim Rohn and Earl Nightingale and pulling out what they wanted, pulling the fake it till you make it, and then pushing that into the world. But not realizing that, yes, it has made them millions of dollars, but where have they left society? Again, the pressure, the sense of, the need to impress people with the things that you have. It just bred so many different things. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I mean, it's not the marketers people's fault, but why was it able to actually breed those things within people where they're starting to, work 24/7, like I said, sacrifice their sleep, sacrifice their relationships, all this internal pressure that they put on themselves, all of these things. And the biggest reasons, and there's 3, they kind of go with each other, but the first one is that most people in society are not anchored. And this is a word that I got from Pastor Michael Todd in 2021. He did this whole series on being anchored, but it's relevant for right now. But we are not anchored in our values, our beliefs, and our inner guidance. So oftentimes we are looking for things externally outside of us, some sort of thought leader, some sort of success leader, somebody to say something that we've been looking for, spark something inside of us, and then follow that message blindly without ever asking ourselves, what is that message good? And do I actually resonate with it? And is it good, without inquiring? Okay, so we're not anchored in some sort of value system, some sort of belief system, some sort of inner guidance that can let us know, okay, cool, that's like a good message, but it's not necessarily for me. And that's one of the biggest reasons why something like hustle culture can sway our minds. And another thing is that, number 2, which kind of goes into this, is that we are not feeding our minds. We are not growing our brains. We are not growing the way that we think. We're not teaching ourselves how to think. Okay? We are not becoming observers of life, observers of how other people live life, observers of how we live life, how we respond to life, observers of our situation. We don't have natural curiosity anymore. Honestly, I feel like all of us just need to go back to being kids, because kids will show you how to do it right. Okay? Being a kid, you're going to have natural curiosity until that's squashed, but you're going to have natural curiosity and you're going to be a natural observer of life. Kids, they watch everything. They watch what you do. And then what's the first thing that they ask? Why? They're not embarrassed to ask why, because they want to know. They want to learn. Their brain is like a sponge. They want to absorb everything. What else do they have? They also have a lot of fun. So if they're being told to clean, they're going to turn it into a game and they're going to have fun with it. And then they also know how to utilize their imagination. I watched some little documentary about these little kids, and they were saying that how if a kid is imagining they are I don't know, whatever they're imagining, being a mommy, being a farmer, being a garden, being in space, in their mind at that time, they really feel like it's a real thing that's happening. Basically, see it in your mind, right? You got to believe it, and then it'll happen. So, but as a kid, we need to have that natural curiosity again and ask why. We need to have fun, and we need to tap into our imaginations. As we get older, that, I'm not going too deep into the rabbit hole, but the school system, society, the way that we're being trained to be worker bees, all these things, our mind kind of just goes into this box. So we have to be natural observers of life. We have to teach ourselves how to think, and we have to be curious. That way, when we see a message like hustle culture or things like that, we can ask ourselves deeper insights into it. If we see somebody with a Lamborghini and the mansions and the things like that, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I want this, because then this is what I need to actually be cool and be to feel fulfilled and to feel popular. And then, your priorities are off because now you're chasing the Lamborghini and all these things because you weren't rooted in some sort of value or belief system. So you don't even really know why you wanted the Lamborghini in the first place. There's a difference between wanting the Lamborghini because you want to achieve a goal, you want to feel satisfied, you want to feel proud, you want to just feel luxurious and cool. But key point, you want to do it for you, not for someone else. So if you don't have an anchor, some sort of value belief system, then you just jump onto this message, letting it shape the things that you want in life. And I am literally speaking from experience. I will go to my old journals from 2012, and I was like, I want a Lambo, I want a Ferrari, I don't want this. And I'm like, when I look at that at the time, I don't even really know what that meant. And to each his own, but I'm just not like, a luxury like type of person in that way. Like that's not how I kind of spend my money. Like I really spend my money on super expensive foods and super expensive experiences. Okay. So like if I'm going to the Korean spa, like we are balling out. Like, so it's just a different way of living life. But back in the day, if I really was honest with myself, I would say to myself, like, yeah, I wanted like the car, but it was because I wanted to basically like feel cool around people driving around LA in a car that shows my worth. Because I didn't have an anchor. I didn't have a value system. I didn't have a belief system. But because again, you can want these things, but it's a difference between wanting it for yourself and wanting it for society. So when you don't have an anchor, you can let hustle culture saturate your mind and your beliefs. You can believe that you need to stay up 24/7. You don't have the introspection to be like, maybe they're twisting some of these words. And, I think maybe for me, maybe it's easier because I'm a marketer and I can kind of see through things. Mom, not right now. Okay, sorry. My mom was calling. Call her back. But again, just because I honestly doesn't really matter if I'm a marketer. I think it's because I'm a natural observer of life and I'm very curious and I'm always asking why. Okay. And then the last part is that a lot of us are not really living out our purpose or feeling like we're living out our purpose. And really what that means is just being able to be in a position where you are able to just let your creativity flow. And it doesn't have to be like living out your purpose to actually make a living from it. Sometimes we don't even allow like our free time is used like watching reality shows, watching gossip shows, watching, what everyone's doing on social, worrying about what's going on, in social media news versus like use that time to maybe like paint, use that time to like pick up a hobby, fulfilling your creative life. If we are not creative and if we're not imagining and we're not dreaming, like that's really kind of how like you die inside. And so if you don't have fulfillment in the work that you do, and you don't even have fulfillment in the habits that you choose, you're just kind of really living an empty life, which then leaves you feeling depleted, which then allows a message like hustle culture to start to warp your mind and start to shape the way that you think and start to change your beliefs, start to change your values because you weren't rooted in anything. So that is why hustle culture has been able to actually, shift people's mindsets to the point where they're in the hospital, shift people's mindsets where they're actually burnt out, shift people's mindsets where they're sacrificing all of these other things in order to achieve something, which they don't even really know how to achieve. Because now let's talk about like, what do we do? What do we do to actually fix this? Because here's the thing. They talk about the hustle, they talk about these things, but they don't really talk about the stuff behind the scenes that actually get them the success, the things that you're actually supposed to learn to make business become successful for you. So that's why a lot of us are lost in the sauce. So one of the first things that we have to do is we still have to do the work, okay? But you have to learn how to do the work. You have to learn all the details of what it looks like to run a business, what it looks like to have time management, what it looks like to be productive, what it looks like to build discipline, like discipline, focus, productivity, time management. Those are skills. Those are skills that you have to learn. And if you have an inquisitive mind, you would realize that just as much effort you would put into trying to work out and do something and do a push-up, do a pull-up, right? Logically that if you've never done this before, you're not going to be doing 100 pull-ups. You're going to give yourself the grace of learning that skill. So you have to apply that to your bit. That's why it's like so interesting because everyone thinks like everything comes so easily. And I'm like, it really does and it doesn't. It does because if you learn the right things, then it makes it so easy, but it doesn't because like there's a lot of things that if you were not just naturally raised to have time management, to have productivity, to have focus, to have discipline, you got to learn that. Okay. And so on top of trying to learn that in your mid-age when reality hits and you're like, I got bills to pay. A lot of us I know also too are going through some stuff internally. You're reparenting yourself. You're reparenting your inner child. You're learning. It's a lot. Okay. So don't make life harder by not having a core set of values and principles in your foundation so that anything that happens to you in life, you are just unshakable. You are unmovable. So what do we do? Number one, you have to find your own voice. You have to find your values. You have to find your belief system. You have to find your inner guidance. And you have to be rooted and anchored in something. Okay? For me, it's God. For me, it's Jesus Christ. For me, it's the Holy Spirit. For me, it's the Bible. It doesn't have to be that for you, but you gotta have some set of guiding principles so that if something new comes into your life, instead of following it blindly, because a lot of the things that we follow blindly lead us into the lion's den or into the valley of death, and you're like, what the heck? How did I get here? And instead of that, you will have something that you can rely on, a counselor, a friend, whatever. Like, that's how you kind of see this, where you can say like, hey, is this good for me? Is this a good idea? Should I follow this? What is this message actually trying to say? And if I partake in this, like, where is it? Like, can I forecast potentially like where it's going to lead me? You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. Okay. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. So anchor yourself, root yourself in something. Okay. You're still going to have to work hard. But again, be an observer of life. What does working hard mean? We don't need to work hard to prove ourselves. We don't need to work hard to earn something. We don't need to work hard to get validation. Okay? Everything really does come easily and effortlessly. It is the truth. So again, realize like, maybe society says like, oh my gosh, we got to work harder. You know what? My parents are like, I worked hard all my life. You need to earn it too. Like, oh, that's just because they say that doesn't mean that it's true. So again, have your own values and belief system. So again, you're going to have to work hard. But what I mean by saying being an observer of life, I talk about this a lot. If you are doing something that you really love, it does not feel like work. It is effortless. It is fun. It is fluid. So that's what I mean when I say be an observer of life, because pay attention to the things that make you feel good. Pay attention to the things that light you up. We are so often just running through life. We're not slowing down to observe life. So think about a time where you've done something that is considered work and you're like, oh my gosh, that was just effortless, ease and flow, versus another task that you had to do that was like pulling teeth, nails on a chalkboard, pushing a rock up a hill. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Brandon. That's what I mean by that. Because I'm still working hard every day. I still have to make smart choices. I still have to make smart moves. I still have to, maybe in some areas make sacrifices, right? But everything is so fun. I have so much fun. Everything is effortless because I listen to myself and I'm an observer of life. So if I am doing something, if it's like maybe I need to do a presentation or put together something, and if it feels like a lot of tension, I'm like, this task is really hard, then I have the ability and the skill set now to sit and evaluate what's happening to me. Either to be like, hey, you know what? My body just maybe is not in the right space because like maybe I have a migraine, maybe I'm really tired. So at this time, maybe I need to work on another task that doesn't require a lot of brain power. And I'm going to push this to tomorrow. Also, though, maybe I can reflect on my day and be like, you know what, Terry, like this is probably the task that you should have started at the top of your day when your brain was fresh. You kind of waited a little bit longer. So tomorrow we're going to push this task at the top of the list. That's me learning prioritization. That's me learning how my body works so that I'm not working against myself. Okay. Like I'm still doing the same task, but I'm working with my natural rhythms of my body so it doesn't feel hard. Okay. And then if it's just really, really, really hard, then maybe it's like, oh, this is not the task that I need to be doing right now. Maybe I need to phone a friend. Maybe I need help on this. But you can only make those observations if you are an observer of your life instead of just doing the same thing over and over again. Right? So then when it comes to your business, you have to learn. You have to learn time management. Read books on time management. Find what works for you. You have to learn productivity. Okay? How do you actually put your tasks in a way that moves the needle towards your business goals so you're not on a hamster wheel and you have false productivity, checking things off the list, feeling like you are, accomplishing things, but you're accomplishing nothing. Okay? You have to learn discipline. You have to learn to become indistractable in the sense of it's not just enough to turn off your phone and move it to the next room or find, it's the internal distractions too, where you're the one that's like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be doing this task, but you know what? Maybe I need to check my emails really quick, right? So you have to learn that skill. How do you learn those things? Become an observer. after, my phone is on an internal do not disturb. So you honestly can't reach me. Like, I really, unless I am checking, I don't get text messages. I don't get phone calls. Like, my phone's not on do not disturb right now because it's after hours, and that's why my mom could call me, but you can't reach me. But I also know that I myself have inner distractions. So as I'm about to go work on a task, I may think to myself, like, well, you know what, maybe let me check that DM. And then I'll make an excuse of well, that DM could possibly be a potential client. They're waiting for a response. So it's good. You should check it. And then guess what? I go check that DM, and then I see some video of a dog, and then I get this way, and then I get that way. And then before you know it, I have, distracted my way away from the task. It wasn't like something came in and distracted me. I distracted myself. But I can correct that because I'm an observer of life. I'm an observer of my own life. Okay? So then again, going back to learning skills of business, all right? It's not just sales, marketing, and things like that. It is becoming that person that can run this business. So we have productivity, we have time management, we have discipline, we have not being distracted. Discipline is a skill. Discipline is a commitment that you make. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be observed because not all things need to be seen to completion. Sometimes you start something to get yourself to somewhere else, right? But you have to observe. But again, be disciplined in the sense of it is commitment that you show up day in and day out. I've been running my own business since 2011. Every single day showing I have made so many sacrifices and, so many things, but that's why I say the entrepreneur spirit isn't for everyone. Cause I'm this has been such a journey, but it's been amazing because I have been able to develop who I am as a person and my mind, my spirit, my body, my soul, all of that. So discipline, focus is a skill. Okay. Don't just claim ADHD. All right. And don't just claim oh my gosh, focus is literally a skill that has to be built. Okay. So learning all of these things. Also, stop carting before the horse. You have to have money management skills, okay? You have to make your money work for you. You have to get your money pregnant, make it have babies, and then make those babies, go get married and start partying with someone else, and then they have babies, and then you need to live off of the earnings of your grandchildren. But what happens is that a lot of us get money into our business, and we're not managing our expenses, we're not managing our profits, we're not managing our taxes. I'm telling you, if you're watching this, freaking just get on profit first. It's going to save your life and it's going to save your business. So a lot of us get trapped in making money and we never get to enjoy the fruits of those labors. So then we become 24/7 entrepreneurs. Then we follow this hustle culture. Then we sacrifice our personal life. It's a vicious cycle. Okay. So again, when you have the ability to manage your money, make your money grow for you, and then you, instead of just now that you see that you have this money there, go spend it and buy these things that you don't really need. That's why I say there's certain sacrifices and choices that you have to make, because that instant gratification of just buying that random thing on Amazon that you don't really need versus putting that money somewhere where it's going to grow for you, and then you can actually eat the fruit of what it grows and not touch your ability to generate wealth and financial freedom. Those are choices that you have to make. So when you are anchored in your value system and your beliefs, when you are an observer of life and you're listening to your body, you're seeing how you're working, you're seeing what message resonates with you, you're seeing what doesn't work for you. And when you are actually becoming a student of the entrepreneur business, not just sales, not just marketing, not just your branding, okay? Who is the person? What does the entrepreneur look like that can run a business? Time management, productivity, focus, discipline. These are the things that will keep you rooted. So messages like hustle culture or any of these new messages that may pop up don't sway you. You are anchored. Okay? You are rooted. All right? And sorry, let me just check my notes really quick. Yeah, I think that was basically it. That's just really what spit out of my mind today. It's just it's honestly, guys, it's really such a profound place to be, Because I'm like, if you just kind of observe and listen, right? Because like, as I'm thinking it, like I said, as this kind of message came through with this hustle culture and listening to this podcast and seeing this and that, and then going back and listening to like some of the things from Jim Rohn and Earl Nightingale, and I'm like, wow, they really like took these older messages and used it in their marketing and created this whole movement. Now it's great marketing. I'm telling you, it's great marketing. But if you're not anchored, you can be swayed. Because again, let's go back to the 5 a.m. club. I practice the 5 a.m. club. Does that mean that I'm hustling? No. Till I grind, like till I die? No. Am I hustling in a way that I have a high work ethic? Yes. Okay? Because I recognize the things that I want to do in life and the balance between this part of my life and that part of my life. And I also know that like, if I'm getting quality sleep, I don't need to sleep until like 9 or 10. Like just for me personally, I'm like, okay, I can get up at 5. I can have my time in the morning to do what I need to do. I get onto my high priority task. I have time to make myself lunch. I get back to work. I can work out. I can go for a walk. I can talk on the phone with my friend. I can read my book. I can watch a show. I've literally had a full day. But instead of just like conking out and putting 6 to 7 hours on Netflix, I'm like, there's a time and place for anything. There's a choice. Like on Sundays, my days off, if I want to spend all day watching Netflix, amazing. But if I know that there's a life that I want to build, then Monday through Saturday is a different discipline. It's different choices, okay? Until I get to the place that I want to get to. And again, your success lies in your daily habits. So you have to really just be honest with yourself, be an observer of yourself, and look at what you're doing that's keeping you from the life that you desire. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's coming to save you. You can complain and blame everybody that you want, but the current reality that you are living is a series of choices that you have made in the past. And if you continue to make those same choices, it's very easy to predict your future. Very clear. You'll be in the same space a year from now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you will be in the same place. Okay. So if you're not observing what you're doing, then how can you change? That's why I say one of the most powerful tools, and I will preach it in every single thing that I can like voice it out into the world. You have to end your day with reflection. It is the only way that you can learn and not only celebrate yourself so that you can build up that inner worth, you can build up that inner confidence, but also make the changes for the next day. Make the changes and see, hey, you know what? Didn't really work out. And I realized I did kind of made some excuses for myself. And that's okay. It's fine. I give myself grace. Tomorrow, let's do better. But that awareness is the first step. But if you're just like going through the day, ending the day, like it's just like you're never going to be able to grow. Okay. So yes, my day is completely full. My day is very intentional, and it is definitely a hustle. It is a hustle of smart work ethic, productivity, time management, focus, and discipline. But I do not sacrifice other areas of my life specifically only for work. Like I had a 2-hour nap today. Okay. Still worked out, still had Bible study. Still gonna read my book for the day. Didn't walk Jaffa because it's been raining, but I still did a whole bunch of things on top of all the things that my business needed because I have a priority list. I have a list that if all these other things don't really matter, this is what needs to be focused on today. And if I have some time later on during the day, then I'll kind of get like to the little ancillary things. But this big one, this is what has to happen today, so that I feel good inside to know that I've actually done things to move the needle. Because a lot of you will do the false productivity and wonder why you're still anxious at the end of the day because you have that big task looming behind you. Okay. And that's really what happens. But again, be anchored. Don't let these messages, persuade you. And this is kind of where I was talking about how there's a shift. There's a shift in the marketing where it's talking more so about finding balance, thriving, aligning, taking inspired action. I can see now that a lot of marketing is, bringing up the toxic traits of hustle culture and how, again, if you don't have a mind that's anchored, you can allow that message to be misconstrued because, again, no one's saying that you're not supposed to hustle or work hard. It's that hustle and that working hard comes from a smart work ethic so that everything that you're doing is actually intentional and moving the needle. Okay. And it also is effortless because you have the balance of understanding what works for you, when it works for you, and how to actually tap into like your natural gifts, your creativity, and the flow of your body. Okay. Like don't be trying to do like the high level task at 7:00 at night when your brain is dead. Like that's the thing that needed to happen in the beginning of the day when you had that fresh start. But again, you can find that out when you are an observer of life. So again, let's just be kids again. Ask why, be observers of life, have natural curiosity, use your imagination, and have fun. That's going to solve a lot of problems. Okay? So hopefully, like I said, this message can help someone. Because we didn't go into this business to be 24/7 entrepreneurs. And a lot of us get into business and we have no idea how to reap the benefits of our labor. We don't know how to reap our fruits. And you got to also just learn what it's like to actually be an entrepreneur, actually be someone that can run a successful business that you can actually live off of and enjoy. But again, you have to expand your mind, expand the way that you think. Okay? You have to have a big, expansive mind that's always inquiring, that's always learning, that's always trying to seek, knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Or else you're going to keep yourself in a small box full of your problems, trying to figure out why things aren't working. So hopefully this message helps someone. Again, this was just on my spirit today. Thank you for Marion for kind of being the final light to the fire to sort of get this out. And it is just my wish for everyone to be in a place where they feel fulfilled. You feel like you have purpose. You are using your creative gifts. Life is fun. Business is fun. Everything is balanced. You just every single day feels like, oh my gosh, that was such a good day. I got to do all these things. I got to do everything. I have fun. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for what's to come. And so I just try to lead by example, because again, I'm not going to try to convince anyone of anything that they want in life. I just learned from my, mistakes and my past, and I just know the future that I want and how I'm supposed to get it. But I really love every single day. I wake up so excited. I have so much fun. I love my business. I love what I do. But the only way that I was able to get here is through all the things that I just mentioned. And I pray that everyone kind of gets to this place, because I see so many people get to a place where either they have financial freedom, but they feel so unfulfilled, or they don't have either, and they're just kind of feeling lost in life. And I feel blessed to be able to feel the gratitude inside for life every single day, and the blessing that it is every single day, and really just honestly have no worries. Yes, there are things that happen to my life. Yes, I go through ups and downs and challenges, but because I have an anchor, because I'm rooted in something, those challenges never, shake me. I've had a lot of things happen to me this year. I've had people try to, from my past that knew the old version of me, slander me online. I've had people throw dirt on my name, but it has never shaken me, because I have an anchor, because I have guidance, because I have wisdom. I can just understand that, yes, it may hurt. Yes, it may feel bad, but no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and I will forgive them as my Father forgives them. So then I can, move forward in my life and, attract the light that I need. And at the end of the day, when you can move forward in that way, they're not going to battle against me anymore. They're going to battle against, God. And then at that point, I don't even see it anymore. But I have an anchor. So I just really want everyone to get to this place of power and stop chasing all of these things and just come back home to yourself. Find your power from within. Get rooted in something so that you can actually live your life on purpose. So yeah, that's it. And happy Tuesday. I hope that this message, again, find someone that needs it. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, is this for you where you are at in your life? Okay. Because I really always try to not tell you what to do. I want you to just be informed, and then you have the ability to make the decision whether or not this information is relevant to you or not. Not just take my word or someone else's word and be like, this is Bible, this is truth. So that's it. Yes, Stephanie. Amen. I am telling you guys, life is so cool. Life is so good. And so I need to be more focused, also just trying to figure out how to manage my time more with kids. There's an answer for that. Someone somewhere has figured that out. So it's just do more research, watch more, YouTube videos on productivity or time management with kids. Ask for help, if that's something that you can't find yourself, because then that's how you solve one of the challenges that you feel that may be holding you back. Like that's what I said, be a kid again. Always ask why, always ask for help, always be an observer, because there is somebody somewhere that's already figured it out. There's somebody somewhere that's like, has 1 million kids and are doing 10 million things because they've figured out a way to have more time management and focus. So just ask for help. Inquire, learn all the things that you need to do in order to actually give you the expansion that you need for, the next phase in life. Because again, it's not about the goals. It's not about the things that we want. It's about becoming the person that can actually handle those goals. So if you want to have success, if you want to have certain things, then you're going to have to find a way to manage what you have now as well as elevate what you have now. So yeah, ask for help. But yeah, guys, happy Tuesday. I was going to say Thursday. Happy Tuesday. I'm always grateful for your time. I'm always appreciative for your time. And I am going to sign off. I'm going to drink my water and read my book. And then Yaf and I are going to bed. So I will save this. I will pin this. And then I will put this in the guides. If you have any questions or thoughts, or I'd just love to know your opinion on this. Because this is a new conversation. This is a new wave that's emerging. You will start to see a lot of the marketing shifting away from 24/7 hustle to ease and flow. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. So I will pin this and we can continue the conversation. So bye, guys.